So, what day is it today?
Tuesday?
Wrong. It's NWA Day.
They want NWA? Let's give them NWA.
I was thinking that it might be a good idea if you and I formed an alliance.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Attention, everyone. Welcome to the greatest wrestling program in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
Okay, let's party.
It's the pre-party with J. Cal.
It's party time.
So, what day is it today?
Here's the story now. If I see Kevin Owens, or even someone who looks like Kevin Owens, I drop them on sight.
Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat, but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah,
See, he's awesome. Yeah! Give it.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. Today, we're doing something kind of different. We are broadcasting live on YouTube. We're broadcasting live on Twitch. And we're broadcasting live on Kick. And we're actually also live on TikTok. And what's cool about it is we're all on the same camera this time. So although the chat's a little bit different on each channel, like we're live. Everyone can see everything. So what is up, everybody? This is Tuesday. It is February 4th, the first Tuesday of the month. You know what that means. Tonight is an NWA Power Night, which means after this live stream, you could go directly to x.com/NWA and check out all the cool, exciting matches that are coming live to you on that National Wrestling Alliance Power episode. We've got people, again, following me on TikTok, and they keep asking me, why did I hurt Randy? Why did I pile drive Sami Zayn? Cody beat you. And honestly, it's because I look like Kevin Owens. But if you're wondering why Kevin Owens took out your favorite wrestlers or is beating the crap out of Cody Rhodes, it's because he's the best WWE superstar there is, and he should be the world's heavyweight champion. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the subscriptions. If you like this show, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. That's what helps me grow. But we do put a heavier emphasis on the YouTube channel. And so I want to say what's up to my guys over here. I got the great Hisa is in the house. Hisa is always watching on the drive home. Appreciate you, Hisa. We got Willie Bowens in the house. He's got a Tyrus joke. If you guys don't remember, Tyrus used to be called the Funkasaurus down there in the WWE. He was a former the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion for almost a year, and it was one of the most brutal activities that NWA fans had to sit through. And his whole thing as champion was he wasn't very good. But anyways, Willie Bone was not a very big fan. And Willie, where's your joke? You don't have a Tyrus joke today. We've got a Rolando Freeman joke, which is Oh, that was a compliment, Mike. It says that Rolando Freeman just got evicted out of the Smurfs Village. And that's because Rolando's a very small fella if you're watching the WWE or NWA programming. Sell It Like Mike said, it's the love child of Kevin Owens and Finn Balor. And what's funny is Finn Balor, when he was in the NWA, used to wrestle for this title belt right here. I don't know if you guys could see that, but this is the NWA British Commonwealth Championship, a title that's been retired for some time, but it was previously held by guys like Carl the Machine Gun Anderson, Fergal Devitt. You guys know him as Finn Balor, and right now, or was held also by Drew Onyx. And we've got Steve G's in the house. Rosville's here. Rosville says, just what's up to everybody. So that's cool, man. So good stuff. All good things. And, one of the cool things about being a fan of the NWA is there's such a rich history. You know, we talk about the National Wrestling Alliance was formed in 1948, and it goes from guys like some of the household names you might have heard, like Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, but it has such a rich history and tradition. And when I started getting into the National Wrestling Alliance, it was about it was right around UFC number, I think it was 5, right? This was like back in, I think it was like 95. And there was this wrestler named Dan the Beast Severin who was competing in both professional wrestling and in mixed martial arts. And he came into the Octagon. And this first time I saw him in the Octagon, he's wearing this sweaty ass gray t-shirt. He's got a towel around his neck, and he's got a whole bunch of guys carrying title belts behind him. And I see the Ultimate Fighter Championship, and I see the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And then he had the 10 pounds of gold. This belt right here. And this belt was synonymous with guys like Ric Flair, with Dusty Rhodes, right? With Harley Race and Wildfire Tommy Rich. And that belt had such nostalgia for me and such great history for me that it became very easy to become enamored with what the NWA was. And at that time, when Dan the Beast Severin was the world's heavyweight champion of the National Wrestling Alliance, and also competing in UFC quite regularly, believe it or not, the NWA wasn't a big deal. In fact, some of you would argue it's still not a big deal. It would go through a lot of metamorphosis over the time. Steve Corino, who had just got off his ECW run, would come in as NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. We would see the title travel to Japan. Shinya Hashimoto was chasing that belt for a while. In fact, Hashimoto would eventually capture that title in 0-1 by beating Steve Corino, and that title would again return to Japan, that 10 pounds of gold. And that title was so connected to this rich history of the NWA. And then you'd get to see this title come to the United States. Through TNA Wrestling, the NWA kind of came back. And if you weren't familiar with TNA Wrestling, or if you still don't watch TNA Wrestling was a promotions that was set up by the Jarrett family, Jeff and his father, Jerry Jarrett, once the WWE kind of ran WCW out of business. And so you had this company, this brand new company, and they put all their energy on that 10 pounds of gold. Ken Shamrock is a former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Ron the Truth Killings, R-Truth, was a World's Heavyweight Champion. Raven was a World's Heavyweight Champion. Christian Cage was a former World's Heavyweight Champion. Abyss. And you had this great run. Even Sting, the man they call Sting, face paint and all, was in TNA as an NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. What was interesting about Sting's run as World's Heavyweight Champion is when he won the 10 pounds of gold, it was the first time he held that title. Because you have to remember, when Sting won the NWA World title in WCW, it was the gold belt, the big gold belt, the one that you'll see right here. That's the belt that Sting won. So it's pretty dope when you think about the history and tradition of the National Wrestling Alliance and how it's kind of come through. They went through TNA, right? That they split from TNA Wrestling, and then you saw the rise of wrestlers like Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. You'll see him every Monday night on Netflix with Raw. You saw guys like Brent Albright. Well, you might not remember Brent Albright, but Blue Demon Jr., he's a a well-known luchador from Mexico, obviously. Colt Boom Boom Cabana, you can see him currently in AEW. We also saw the rise of guys like the Sheik, who I'm not a big fan of. And then when the NWA went through another ownership change from one era to the next era, the new company decided that they were going to try to work with New Japan Pro Wrestling. So immediately after a new champion was crowned, they put the belt on Rob Conway, who you guys from the WWE fans might remember. Conway took that title to New Japan Pro Wrestling, defended it against guys like Hiroshi Tenzin and Satoshi Kojima. Kojima most recently was an MLW world champion. So a lot of those titles were all over the place. That world heavyweight title has been all over the place, whether it was represented in the NWA or TNA Wrestling or New Japan Pro Wrestling. That 10 pounds of gold, again, so synonymous with pro wrestling. It's what brought me back to this. And I've been covering the National Wrestling Alliance pretty extensively since like 2006. Our website, alliance-wrestling.com, was started in 2006 as a way to kind of document the history, the tradition of what was happening in the NWA, watching that title grow. Again, it was almost a dead property back in 1995 when perhaps one of the greatest shoot fighters in the history of shoot fighting held the title. Believe it or not, it was not as big then as it is now. And now every Tuesday we could turn on, we could load up X, go to x.com/NWA and watch Power. So that's a little bit about me. Let's talk about what's going to happen tonight on Power, because this is an episode that, honestly, I'm not super excited about. We watch Power religiously, and these are the episodes. These episodes were filmed back in December as part of the Looks at Kill pay-per-view that took place in Dotham, Alabama. And it's one of those deals where I was excited about this pay-per-view, or I guess it's not even a pay-per-view anymore. They're called Signature Live events. There were some matches on there that looked pretty good, some of them not so great. And it just doesn't feel like tonight's card especially just doesn't really do much for me. And I'll talk about that. Specifically, the first match that's happening tonight is the Colognes, right? You guys might remember the Colognes, Epico and Primo, who did wrestle in the WWE for quite some time. Sorry, got a message real quick. Let me just handle this. So they sorry, lost my train of thought. So the Colognes, who, are superstars in IWA Puerto Rico, and like I said, had spent time in the WWE, they were trying to get their foot in the door with the NWA. They've had a match, maybe two matches so far. They had their debut. It's fine. And then they took on the tag team of the Immortals. Now, the Immortals are former U.S. tag team champions. Odinson and Kratos, these guys are huge. They look like superstars. They look like they fit right in the WWE or in some of the larger promotions. I keep getting asked now on TikTok Live, why did I attack Sammy? And I think you guys know why Kevin attacked Sammy. It's because he didn't help him win the world title. He sat there and watched him take an Alabama slam through a ladder. You know why he attacked Sammy. What's up, Ryan Davis? Welcome to the chat. Willie Bowen also wanted to remind me of Rhino being a former champion. So, yeah. Steve G says, it's totally crazy when you think about Billy booking. He'll give Tyrus a championship belt, but not Markova. That's true. Tim, what's up, Tim? Hey, Jay, long time no chat. I think Power has been decent recently. I thought last week's Power was really, really good. But this week's Power, I'm not super excited about. And part of that is, look, as I was talking about the Colognes, the Colognes could be something interesting for the NWA. In a company that has a growing tag team division. I mean, look, you've got Blunt Force Trauma, the former tag champions. You've got the Immortals, pretty solid tag team champions. As of right now, you still got. As of right now, you've got the tag team of Daisy, Kill, and Talos, right? You've got the Country Gentlemen, your U.S. tag champions, and the Colognes are now in here. So there is a pretty decent tag team roster for the NWA. So I don't know why they decided to get a pairing of Sam Stackhouse and Eric Smalls. They call the team Size Matters. Now, Eric Smalls, if you don't know, is all of 4'4". He's a little person. Some people would use the other word. I'm not comfortable using that word. We'll say little people. And his tag team partner, Sam Stackhouse, is legitimately 2 feet taller and about 200 pounds heavier. Now, having an opportunity to wrestle, that's what Eric Smalls wants to be, as a pro wrestler. And I would say that there's a lot of avenues that celebrate little people wrestling. The NWA does not currently have a little person division, nor does it have regular opponents for him. So I just don't know why they keep pushing him as a regular full-time wrestler, when in reality, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't make sense. So Kevin Owens is 40, so that makes you the older brother. Yeah, Kevin Owens, they're still going at it in the chat, so I'll address it one more time. Anyone ever tell you that Kevin Owens looks like J. Cal? Yes. What will be a dream come true is I'll go to one of these autograph signings one day where Kevin Owens is there, and we'll do the whole like mirror thing, right? And just it's funny, but so yeah, I'm not excited about Eric Smalls and Sam Stackhouse versus the Colognes, which would probably be a pretty good power if that match wasn't on it, to be quite honest with you. Now, look, I've been wrong before. There's been things that I've turned on. Like, I wasn't a huge Colby Carino fan. I wasn't a big Kerry Morton fan. I like both of those guys a lot now. They have done very little with Eric Smalls to make me care about him as a pro wrestler. And it's not X-Pac heat. It's just, please get off my TV heat. So that's one of the things that the NWA is currently doing that I'm not in love with. I wish that they would stop doing that. If they want to go in on the little people wrestling, and there's look, in Southern California, we have a lot of roving promotions that come out here with the little people wrestling. I know there's the Dwarfinators, there's midget wrestling. I'm not into that stuff. I've never been to one of those events. Maybe I'll go on a whim one of these days, but that's not something that I want to watch. And if that's what the NWA wants to do, I mean, they're more than welcome to do it. But if you're going to do it seriously, respect the athlete, put the matches together that makes sense. Putting Eric Smalls in a match where he's 2 foot smaller than the rest of his opponents, it's just, does that make sense to anybody? The thing about Smalls is he's in the thumbnail of the most viewed video on NWA's YouTube, but I don't think it's because people want to see his wrestling skills. Soto, thanks for the support, man. My guy Soto619, he is active on the TikTok community. He just surpassed 20,000 followers on TikTok. So Soto's a good dude. If you guys are on TikTok, follow my guy Soto619. He's also on all social medias at Soto619, especially if you're in WWE content. He is a wealth of knowledge, and I do enjoy his content. I watch it quite regularly. Let's see. Ryan Davis said, the best promo I've seen out of the NWA in a while was Thrills and Brian Idol. I thought they nailed it. 100%, Ryan. 100%. Now, Thrillbilly Silas Mason is, when you look at this guy, he's every stereotype you'd ever think by looking at him. But then when you hear this guy speak, he's a master's class when it comes to promo. He is, his body, he's hitting the gym hard. He's getting bigger and more solid every week. He was in the movie about the Von Erich family, the Iron Claw. He played, oddly enough, as we go through the field here, he played Terry Bam Bam Gordy. And if you were to see Silas Mason today, he practically looks like the illegitimate child of Terry Bam Bam Gordy. So perfect fit for the casting in that movie, but more so in the NWA, he's a former national champion. And I think, the sky's the limit for this guy. And yeah, he did have a promo with Brian Idol. Brian Idol is famously the wrestler that tracked down somebody who stole the iPods of another wrestler on an airplane. Weird story. But Brian Idol has become... I'm not a big Brian Idol fan. Brian Idol, to me, is a very dull, boring wrestler. But this promo that he cut last week on Power was 100% one of the best promos that guy's ever done. Now, the problem, again, with the NWA and the pacing and the film schedule is you had that magnificent promo. It was awesome from Idol. Best work he's done as a promo with Silas Mason, who, again, is the measuring stick as far as I'm concerned when it comes to talent in the NWA. This amazing promo that was so good, and that match isn't on this week's Power. Why? Why would you do all of that for nothing? There's no payoff, so the fans got to tune in next week. You might think, oh, what a great way to tease it. No, that's not what they were doing. They weren't teasing it. They just didn't deliver, which is, again, a byproduct of the National Wrestling Alliance. So in and of itself, that match, the first match, I'm not excited about. The next match that is advertised is Mr. Grimm challenging for the national championship of Mims. Mims is managed by the Black G's Church's Money. And no, hold on a second. Sorry, guys. My phone's blowing up here. Okay. So going back to the topic at hand. So the next match is the national title match. Mims won this title in a very, let's just say, a less than stellar way. He won the title in a 4-way match that featured Burchill, formerly of the WWE, also had Carson Drake, Mims himself, and Brian Idol, the aforementioned Brian Idol. Now, all 4 of these competitors are very good in the ring. All 4 of these competitors, you would expect to have a pretty good match. And it started off well enough. Brian Idol was the first one eliminated. Yeah, Sami Zayn was messaging me. So Brian Idol was the first one eliminated, which, being there live in Philadelphia at the ECW Arena, I was very excited to see Idol out first because he's the guy I wanted to see win the title the least. And I was almost positive Idol was going to win that belt. And then it came down to Burchill, Mims, and Drake. And Burchill and Mims were kind of going at it. And Mims gets the pinfall on Burchill. And you're like, holy crap, that was a great victory for Mims. Burchill does have some credibility with his WWE past, and Mims is kind of an up-and-comer who recently had lost the TV title. So all of this was a really cool thing. Mims and Carson Drake, who's also an up-and-comer, Drake being probably more of an up-and-comer at this point. And so Carson Drake and Mims were about to get this really great matchup, and then you see Mims' manager get up on the ring apron, says something to Carson Drake. Carson Drake smiles, laughs, lays down, and then Mims gets that pin. And so you start off this title reign with a tainted victory because you didn't really the only person you beat in that match was Burchill. And if it was just a singles match between Burchill and Mims, no one would have had a problem with it. But because of the 4-way, it was just so tainted. And then since then, they haven't really given Mims much to do as a national champion. So he's beaten a few people. Nothing has been overwhelmingly great. He beat Burchill in a title match. But then they kind of were trying to set up who the next opponent will be for the national title. And that's where we get Mr. Grimm. Now, Mr. Grimm is a phenomenal athlete. Mr. Grimm, to me, reminds me a lot of Willie Mack, a younger Willie Mack. He's a little bit bigger than Willie Mack in terms of weight-wise, but he moves very effortlessly in the ring. And Mr. Grimm is a guy that I think if he was on the indies more frequently, people would kind of navigate to him, right? Because he's so good in the ring. He's very, like I said, effortless. And even the things where I feel like maybe he botches or could have made a mistake, he still manages to make something happen out of it. So it's never a you effed up chant, you know? So as he as he makes his debut into the NWA, the first thing he does is save Eric Smalls from a different storyline altogether. Didn't have a match his first debut in the NWA, and that was at the 76th anniversary show. The follow-up to the TV tapings that are after that, he wrestles Max the Impaler, formerly the television champion, the non-binary Nightmare, who pinned Mr. Grimm in the center of the ring. No shenanigans, nothing. And so that's pretty expected because Max the Impaler is a very dominant force within the NWA. So Mr. Grimm has now his first appearance, a loss. Then last week or 2 weeks ago, he wrestled Silas Mason, the Thrillbilly. We talked about him earlier before, and gets beat. I mean, it was a pretty competitive match, all things considered. In fact, if I was booking it, I would have had Silas Mason really just beat the crap out of this guy. But it's pretty back and forth, even. And then Silas Mason gets the victory. So now Mr. Grimm has had 3 appearances in the NWA as far as I can remember, and 2 matches that were losses. So why did they put him in a national title match? This is a very big problem with the NWA's booking is you have very talented athletes, but the storylines make no sense. You don't reward somebody for 2 losses. In wrestling, wins and losses should matter. Now, I get popularity will change things, and if a guy is super popular, sometimes he'll get a sweeter deal or a better opportunity, or has some sort of historic name or history within the National Wrestling Alliance, could come in and make demands. Mr. Grimm has not made any demands. As far as we can tell, Mr. Grimm has not done anything of warrant to win or earn a title shot. So why is the NWA putting Mr. Grimm in a match with Mims is entirely beyond me. And I'm waiting for anyone in the chat to kind of give me a reason why this is happening. I know Matt Overmetal and I were speaking about this on Discord, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's just another case of poorly booked pro wrestling, the hallmark of Billy Corgan's NWA. And it's funny because I'll sit here and tell you how much I enjoy the NWA and how I think everyone should watch the NWA, but I can't lie to you and tell you that it's the best booked wrestling. And when you see good stuff out of the NWA, it's usually because the talent made it happen. Matt says Mr. Grimm is going to the Elimination Chamber. Excuse me, I messed that up. He said Mr. Grimm getting a shot at Mims is the same thing as John Cena getting the go-ahead at the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, and it is. It's this thing where you've got a really good talent. Like, he's a great talent. I don't want to bury the guy. Mr. Grimm, I think, has a bright future ahead of him, and I think he's a very good talent. But again, like, if Mr. Grimm came in and had 2 matches where he won, and they're like, hey, good job, we're going to put you in a title match to celebrate, cool. I got no complaints. And I don't care who he beats, right? I don't care who he beats in the NWA. If you give me 2 solid victories, then I'm all right with you challenging for a mid-card title. He beat nobody. They did the same thing with Burchill. Burchill, I don't think, has a single victory in the NWA at this point. Like, none. And yet they keep getting title shots. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. And then Dave Scooby says William Patrick Corgan is the parent. So the reason is because, I mean, I can't argue that. Ryan says, I've only seen 1 match from this Grimm guy. Now he has a title match. Yeah, and he's had 2 title matches. Like, that's the other crazy thing. Like, let's pump the brakes. He didn't deserve the title match that he had, and he lost. Why is he getting another title match? And nobody will be able to explain that to me because there is no rhyme or reason for it. It doesn't make any sense. If it made sense, then I could fully support it, but it just doesn't make sense. What's up, Jacob, on TikTok? Jacob thinks I look like Kevin Owens, too. That's fun. Let's see. I want the NWA to get a TV contract or get on a good streaming service. It's crazy because, like, I think we all would like to see the NWA take it to that next level, but with the booking and the storylines not adding up, the continuity, the show placement, like, I don't know how they can go to somebody like Paramount and say, hey, we got this great wrestling show. Do you want to buy into the NWA? Like, who's going to buy into that? It's so the storylines are so bad. The continuity doesn't make sense. The storylines don't make sense. So Demas says the NWA booking is the NWA's own worst enemy. I can't argue with that. And again, I'm an advocate for this brand. I'm trying to encourage people to go watch the NWA. Hell, I've got replicas of the national title right here. I've got replicas of the world's heavyweight title, the golden championship, the big gold belt. I've got titles of the old 6-man tag and world class. So over here, I've got the British Commonwealth title behind me. I'm a big NWA guy. I love the NWA. The better the NWA is, the more people will watch my content because it's related to the NWA. And I can't tell you that it's good. The rest of the talent is good. The production looks good. Quality-wise, it looks good. Storyline-wise, you might as well be watching AEW. Oops, did I say that? I sure did. All right, so yeah, as much as I'd like to see them get a TV deal, it doesn't look like that's in the cards. I mean, look, the WWE debuted on Netflix this year. Okay, they're on the CW. They're with NXT. They're still on USA Universal with SmackDown in the United States. All of their streaming content is on Peacocks, right? So that means their signature live events are on Peacocks. All the this again SmackDowns and all the libraries on there. And I guess outside of the US, it's all on Netflix. But they're on X as they have a program on X, which is just that speed division. They've got 3 different television programs that are on USA, Netflix, and CW. And then there's Main Event, which is their syndicated program that I think that airs mostly internationally, but I believe that's available on Hulu, right? And then they have Content Crazy on YouTube. And then now they just announced that they're also going to be on Tubi with a developmental NXT show called Evolve, which is based off of the old Evolve wrestling promotion. So there's so much NWA content, so much WWE content and so many different places to watch it. A place like Tubi would have made a lot of sense for the NWA, but now that the WWE's on Tubi, like, I don't think it's a destination for the NWA anymore. And then, like AEW, not only are they on TNT and TBS, but now they're also on the Max on the streaming deal. So like that's no longer an option for them. MLW's doing YouTube. The NWA's on X. They're not exclusive. Well, they say they're exclusively on X, but the exclusivity only goes one way. X has other wrestling content on there with the WWE. And even more than that, like, X was never meant to be a platform to watch programming on. It was more of a place to have open forum and discussion as town hall community, not a place to watch wrestling. Now, I don't have a problem with the NWA broadcasting on X. I mean, I feel like that's not the appropriate platform for them. And much like Soto619 said, WWE has speed on X, which is also, like, again, I don't have a problem with that, but there's better places to go with content like this. Like, look, as far as I can tell, there's no wrestling promotion doing content exclusively for TikTok. What if the NWA did all their video formats in the in the vertical position, right? Had the camera vertically and then did their content on there. At least it would be something different. It would be unique. And they could still shoot it in the widescreen format and just edit it to get you both of them. Okay, more comments here in the chat. Let's see. Triller TV would be nice. Sure. I mean, but if they're going to go on Triller, they might as well bring back pay-per-views too, right? Chris says, we're going to stop the AEW slander. Chris, I do that to pop you, right? I like AEW. There's a lot of things I like about AEW. I don't necessarily love the booking, but there's a lot of things about AEW that I like. I want to say what's up to all my friends who are watching on TikTok. Thank you guys. Willie says, J Cal, do we have the NWA North American Championship belt? I don't have an NWA North American Championship belt. It literally was this close to being mine. I would have paid for the North American Championship when Bruce Tharp bought the NWA. Rather, when he won it in litigation, one of the first things they did was made new titles, right? And the NWA North American title, the title that was held by, not only was it held by Jeff Jarrett on a Monday Night Raw, but also held by Blackjack Wyndham. When Barry Windham had made his return to the WWE as Blackjack Wyndham, and he teamed up with JBL Blackjack Layfield. They had that North American title on Raw. And then that was the same title held by Damian Wayne, same title held by Drew Onyx, and a couple other guys. And I love that belt design. I mean, it was ugly, but it was the kind of ugly that grows on you, kind of like the NWA Cloverleaf Junior Heavyweight title from back in the day. And so Bruce Tharp was selling those belts. And I know this because DKM got the World Junior Heavyweight title at a very sweet price. And I would have paid a lot more money to get that North American title. I would have paid some pretty big bucks for that. And it was gone before I could get to it. It was gone before I could get to it. Matt says he should be the next upper mid-card face. I think you're talking about Burchill, who you also pointed out had 2 wins in the NWA. His wins are so memorable that I didn't even remember them. Who were they against? Who did he beat? I don't get the AEW hate personally. I think it's just Bill Bono pants from years ago. Just the latest trend. Fair enough. WGN should have gotten the NWA Power. I mean, like, back in the day when TBS was a superstation and WGN was a superstation, those were premier places to have content. Today, the WGN is a little bit different and not as significant as it once was. But really, I mean, look, that's not a bad idea considering a couple of things. Number one, Chicago is the home of Billy Corgan, and he even has, weirdly enough, a territory. The owner of the company has his own territory in Chicago, yet they don't take advantage of it. And this would be a very smart idea if Billy wanted to build up wrestling in Chicago. If he put Power on the Chicago market, I don't want to say advocate for him paying for airplay, but if that's all he could get, it would make sense. They're doing NWA live events in Chicago all the time. He could have Power, still film it in Tampa, and put the show itself on WGN. It would have to be something you pay for, obviously, or at least I think so. And then have and still air the content on X or on any other platform that they could get on. But, much like how NXT is on CW first and then on the app later, that's how I would do it. Soto 619 says NWA could go to Prime Video or even Hulu now that they don't have WWE. It's still a matter of supply and demand. Like, who wants to pay for that? I guess you could go to Prime Video. I guess you could be on Prime Video and get paid for watch time. But I think what Billy Corgan's looking for is someone paying to produce Power. And as it is now, I don't know who does that. Who would be willing to do that? Steve G says, J-Cal, for the most part in AEW, you only get booked decently if you're an ex-WWE wrestler. It's all TK cares about. TK collects ex-WWE wrestlers like Cardona collects action figures. That's why AEW's ratings are on decline. Look, I'm okay with AEW just being a place to watch amazing wrestling. For those of you who might remember the wrestling promotion, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, one of the things that Super Dragon would say quite frequently is like he didn't care if his wrestling shows made money. He just wanted the best wrestling on his shows. And when I think about that, number one, I think that's pretty cool, right? Like his principles, his values were just to have the best wrestling. And on independent shows, very rarely do you get coherent storylines anyways. AEW is essentially that. They have an overarching storylines. They're just not very good, but so does the NWA. They're just not very good. Shogun says, I heard Andrade got divorced. If he gets phased out of the WWE, can he and Latimer wrestle for Sweet Charlotte? That would be amazing. But I don't think Andrade is leaving the WWE. I I think that was the plan all along, was for him to come to the WWE once his AEW deal was up. And I think his relationship with Charlotte at that point was already, I know they had problems, and that's the thing. Like, I've been divorced. I've been married twice. I don't really think, I don't really like talking about like their personal relationships, but I don't think that that's going to be problematic. Andrade's not wrestling in matches where Charlotte will be. So, Soto says, which one will Charlotte pass her father in for, 17 world titles or 4 divorces? Damn, Soto. Woo! That one was stiff. He's not leaving. He'll ride it out to the end. Well, yeah, it's a payday. But if Andrade was available, hell yeah, I'd take him in a heartbeat. She is on her 3rd. Wow. 3rd divorces. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Cosplaying Crusader, you said show off that NWA title in the back. So I've got a couple of them, right? Like I've got, this is the world-class 6-man tag title. This is the NWA 10 pounds of gold. This is the NWA, WCW, WWE big gold belt. And I've also got the British Commonwealth Championship right here. And we've also got the NWA Television Championship right there. So that's my collection of title belts. We've given so many options for the NWA for TV on demand choices. They haven't gotten or jumped off any of it. I'm saving all the rest of my ideas for myself now. Roswell, they're not listening to us, man. I don't think anyone in the front office is listening. Sean Mega says the NWA needs a ranking system. 100%. But again, even if they had one, would Billy even adhere to it? Like, that's the thing. Like, this is his universe. This is Billy's brainchild. He's the, megalomaniac that created this universe, and he doesn't even adhere to his own rules. Ryan Davis says, I got the old NWA US title that Luger wore. That's a good belt, too. WGN is a news station now. Well, there goes that. With AEW on Max, ratings aren't a focus anymore. They have been doing great internationally. At the end of the day, are they making money? That's the thing. Is AEW making money? If that's the thing. If you're a multi-billionaire, do you even care if it's making money? Because Tony Khan, if he's losing money with that program, like, he's still making a ton of money. He's a billionaire. Soto says, for someone who doesn't stay updated with the National Wrestling Alliance, where would one start? Well, there's a couple great places. The number one resource, obviously, I think would be to go to X and watch the NWA Power tonight. It comes on about 15 minutes on X, x.com/the NWA. Going to my website, alliance-wrestling.com, we've been covering the NWA pretty extensively since 2007. A lot of great history articles, interviews, stuff like that. That'd be another great resource. But YouTube has a ton of NWA content. If you're still down with the WWE on Peacock, there is still a lot of NWA content on that. But we're talking about NWA from yesteryear. Anything recent, your best bet is YouTube. Their channel, the NWA YouTube channel, they do update it quite regularly. But the Power as a show itself is just exclusively on X now. Willie Bowen says Magnum TA, Kevin Von Erich, Terry Taylor, Jack Stain, Tim Storm, Dusty Rhodes, Paul Orndorff, Junkyard Dog, Mustang and Mike, all were former NWA North American champions. Yeah, and that title is significant. The belt that I was talking about was my favorite, but the NWA North American title was retired before the Lightning One era, and I don't see it coming back anytime soon. Figure 4 says NWA needs to copy Ricky Morton's membership offer, but with the NWA, they can include their territories. We will get live wrestling almost every week, and then Tampa tape for Power for free YouTube. Yeah, Figure 4. I would like the NWA to do something different. The way that we get signature live events as TV tapings, things that we're supposed to be excited about that we don't see for 2 months. The whole thing needs to be restructured. They had a pretty decent plan initially when the NWA was on YouTube. The move to CW kind of screwed things up a bit. And the demise of the pay-per-views, I think, was a very, very short-sighted decision. The whole CW idea, when the NWA was on the CW app, not the television network, but the app, it was a very short-term gain with a lot of long-term losses. I don't know, the deal was only 8 months, and I don't know how the NWA benefited, but it certainly did hurt the NWA and a lot of international fans' eyes. They were no longer able to watch the content. Our friend Fiona in Scotland, our friend Dodi in Indonesia, our friend Tim in Canada, all were unable to watch the NWA programming. So much so that Tim quit covering the NWA. So I like News Nation, especially Ross Cothart, but I'm into the whole UAP disclosure thing. I have not followed any of that, Ryan. I have no idea. Sean Mega says, that's why Gabe is successful and Super Dragon's out of business. Sean, that's cold-blooded. Super Dragon's out of business because there was a loss in his family, and he hasn't recovered, and I don't know if he ever will. PWG, if they started running events again, would sell out. Would they have to lean heavy on AEW talent? Sure. Would that be a problem for anybody? No. If PWG were to start running events right now, they would be just as popular as they were when they took time off. PWG didn't stop running events because they couldn't sell tickets. That was never the problem. What are your thoughts on Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble? She was a perfect choice. Tell me who in the WWE is a bigger star than Charlotte. And I watched the Rumble. There was a minute there where Roxanne Perez would have been a very interesting move, but I think somebody, at least for the Rumble, I think who's bigger than Charlotte Flair? And Andrade ain't. I'm just saying, if Andrade were to come to the NWA, I'd be about that. I just got called a Kevin Owens dupe. I'll take it. It's better than be called Wish or Timu or Shein Kevin Owens. I'll take what I can get. The NWA is trying to build their heavyweight division up with Mondo, Burchill, PB Smooth, EC3, Tom Latimer. They need someone like Baron Corbin to come in and give them that division a shot in the arm. I don't hate Baron Corbin. I don't hate Baron Corbin in the NWA, but they have not done anything to build up that division. I think that's why we're in the problem that we are. There's just, I think that's the problem with where the NWA is at currently, is that whole entire division is only about right now Tom Latimer and EC3, and they haven't done enough to make that more credible. Real quick on the TikTok, they said, who's your favorite wrestler currently? I got two of them, and they're both in AEW, but you don't see them very often. But my favorite wrestler of all time, Samoa Joe, and a close number 2 would be Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky, consider Scorpio Sky a friend. I'm going to get to see Scorpio Sky on Tuesday, February 25th, as he returns to the United Wrestling Network, and I'm very excited about that. Chris Trevin says, bro, Evolve was going broke. Hunter saved him. Super Dragon stopped PWG because of personal reasons, I believe. Yeah, I know the story behind it. I'm not at liberty to talk about it. Super Dragon, if he decided tomorrow to start promoting PWG again, those tickets would sell out. No doubt about it. And I know that there's been offers from other people to buy Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and it ain't for sale. So I don't know. Maybe it will come back at some point. It's not a priority for Super Dragon right now. It's a shame, but that's just is what it is. Noob says FTW Wrestling hasn't gotten any new shows all throughout last night. FTW wrestlers haven't gotten any new shows all throughout last year, which is beyond me. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what FTW's plan is. That was more of a Brian Idol thing and less of an NWA thing. I'm not a wrestling promoter. I never have been. I've never played one on TV. But if I was a wrestling promoter, everything that I did, I would film for content release, either YouTube, social media, something. And I'm not saying everything you do has to be released, but everything you do should be recorded. Everything. I've tried watching Power on my phone, and it doesn't even give me the option to make it full screen, so I just wait for it on YouTube. That's not a being on X is not a viable option as far as I'm concerned. I think that's a bad business decision. I don't know why they want to be on X. I don't know what the appeal is to be on X, but that's what the NWA's chosen. And I can't, there's nobody I could talk to about it. No one's listening to me, but I feel like that is a very poor idea. If, the idea, I've heard some people say the reason why they're on X is because there's tons of people on X and you're introducing your content to a new platform, to a new audience. And okay, let's go with that for a second. Let's say that is the option. That's what the NWA is trying to do, is get the most amount of eyeballs on their content. Cool. Then why not go also on Facebook? Facebook has a video options. You could post videos right onto on the Meta, both on Threads, on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Why not take advantage of that? They don't. It's just X. Now, they do parse those matches out on YouTube, which I think is a smart idea. I'm not advocating that you have to move power back to YouTube exclusively. I'm just saying that if you're going to have that show out there, put it on Twitch, put it on TikTok. You'd have to edit it to be on TikTok. But if you're going to take the show and try to get the most amount of eyeballs on it, then put it where it will get the most amount of eyeballs, not one format. Or if you're really looking for engagement and trying to make money with it, I don't know of a bigger app than Google and YouTube. So Ryan Davis says, wasn't PWG ran by Excalibur? I may be wrong, but I heard that somewhere. Excalibur was one of the original owners. The PWG was originally owned by 6 wrestlers: Scott Lost, Joey Ryan, Top Gun Talwar, Disco Machine, Excalibur, and Super Dragon. Eventually, it just became Super Dragon. I'm sure if PWG ran again, Excalibur would be involved. I'm almost positive, but it's not 100% certain. What are your thoughts on Natalia Markova becoming the first Oceanic Women's Champion at the Jericho Cruise? I didn't know she did, and I'm happy for her. Markova is becoming a bit of a belt collector. That's great, dude. That's really good for her in terms of getting some notoriety. Obviously, the NWA has not put Markova in a spot where she's going to become the next Burke champion. I mean, maybe that's the plan, but that's not where it's at now, and that's unfortunate. There's more comments that I need to get to, so I'm going to try to get to them before we finish up Power. But Shawn Michaels' promotion's going out of business because of one person that's always been an issue in wrestling. It's a potential problem if Billy decides to pull the plug. WWE don't live and die on one person anymore. Yeah, that's the thing too. If tomorrow, I don't want to be grim here, but tomorrow, if Tony Khan passed away, would AEW continue to exist? I don't know. If tomorrow, if Billy Corgan passed away, would the NWA continue to exist? I don't know. If Dave Marquez passed away, would the United Wrestling Network continue to exist? Probably not. But now for the WWE, if a Triple H passes away tomorrow, there still will be a WWE. And that's in TNA too. TNA, it's not just one person anymore. So God forbid something bad happened like that. A lot of the wrestling promotions would just be done. But we'll see. The Bucks were the people offering to buy them. That would be weird. It wouldn't be bad. I think Super Dragon, when he's up to it, should come back. I feel like PWG would have been a better vehicle for Tony Khan, more so than Ring of Honor. And I get it. Ring of Honor saved a lot of jobs. Why Tony buying it? And there's a lot more wrestlers employed today because Tony saved Ring of Honor. But I kind of wish he would have bought PWG. That would have been my preference. Chris Dog says, J. Cal, if you're Billy, would you make a deal with TKO to license the NWA footage and create an NWA Vault YouTube channel? Chris, I would say sure, but I don't think that is anything that TKO wants to do right now. I don't think, there's the supply and demand. NWA fans who want to watch the old footage have that option in the United States to go to Netflix, to go to Peacock. Outside of the United States, Netflix. And I don't know how much is available internationally, but that library, although it's dope, there isn't a high demand for that. And if TKO could make money licensing it to Billy, then sure, but how is Billy going to make money with that footage? What's Billy going to do to create, how does that grow the NWA for Billy? Billy's not in a point yet where he's ready to have multiple hours of NWA programming. Hell, they went from having 3 hours a week to 2 hours a week to 1 hour a week. And then now it's like really 45 minutes because it just is what it is. Forrest Smith, who's on TikTok, says, "Oh my God, I just got on your page and I was like, oh my God, that's Kevin Owens." I get it a lot. The NWA needs to go to Blue Sky. I think they're on Blue Sky, although again, Blue Sky isn't a place for video content. I mean, I think they just now are adding short video format, which is cool, but again, that shouldn't be where you're broadcasting your program from. Steve G says, soon UWN is back. Can't wait to see what women will be there. I think you really can't pass for Kevin Owens. I get it a lot. I get it a lot. Noob says, stream episodes of Power on Twitch. 100%. Why not make Twitch your official broadcasting partner? Like, think about that for a minute. I am not a huge guy when it comes to Twitch. My followership is less than 100 on Twitch. We post on there, but I don't really have any traction there. So I don't know what I'm saying is true or not. But Twitch is a place for people to check out video content. And you could have NWA wrestling on that channel 24/7 if you wanted. And people, I mean, you make money by having people subscribe to your channel, but you also make money by people giving gifts, by people subscribing to the account. And there's different tiers. The more subscribers you have, the more money you make, and you become a partner with Twitch. And the NWA, that sounds like the perfect match for them. I don't know why they don't. It seems like a no-brainer. Look, they can even have some of the wrestlers host content on the channel too. Like Colby Carino streams on Twitch. I'm sure he's not the only one. Thanks for the shout-out, Soto. I appreciate that. Great job, Jay Cal and members. See you soon. Yeah, thanks. Thank you for hanging out. But real quick, before we call it a night, I do want to mention also that tonight on Power, we also get the world title match for the Burke. And for anyone that's watching this live stream, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch or Kick, at 6:05 p.m. Eastern, 3:05 Pacific on YouTube, or excuse me, on X, the NWA will put out this week's episode of Power. And one of the matches that will be on this episode is Kenzie Page defending the Women's World Championship against Hollywood Haley J. You might know Haley J from her time in Women of Wrestling or from Ohio Valley Wrestling when they were on Netflix. I can't recommend that this match won't be killer. I said that all weird, but I think that's going to be a great match. I think for the Burke, this will be the reason to watch Power this week. Kenzie Page, Haley J. It's going to be a hell of a match. Make sure you tune in for that. Thank you guys for hanging out with me here on all social media platforms that we're at. We'll be live on Thursday on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick as part of the Alliance Guys live stream where we'll talk about the NWA and so much more. Again, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. And until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.